Hi everyone, Derek Hooper here. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about how to maximize your practice time when you're working on your bunker shots. So the first thing I would have a player do just as a warm-up is draw a line in the sand, make sure that when they set up that line's towards the left side of their setup. And all I want them to do is to practice swings and take sand and throw that sand up onto the green. So they're just getting used to, where the club should be bottoming out in the sand and getting that feeling of a nice high finish and the bounce of the club reacting with the sand. Once you can do that with some consistency, the next progression that I would have you go to would be just to have balls in the bunker, and all you're going to do is go through and see how many in a row can you get out of the bunker, and that's it. Because remember, there's some progressions that we're going to go through here. My first objective for players in the bunker is you have to be able to get out in one shot. Once you can get out consistently, the next thing I want you to do is be able to get it on the green consistently. Once you can get it on the green consistently, then I want you to get it close. If you can get it close to the hole consistently, then we can start talking about, well, how do we actually hole a couple of shots? So when you're in the bunker here, we're just aiming at the center of the green and we're just having some swings and we're trying to see how many in a row can we get out of the bunker. If you can do that easily, how many in a row can you get on the green? If that's not too much of an issue, okay, now let's start aiming at some targets. And what I'd have you do is, on your practice screen that you're using, there's probably several flags up there. And I would have you go through your full pre-shot routine, choosing a different flag each time. And then the goal is to get one, I'd start with on the green when you go at each flag, and count how many balls it takes you to complete that exercise. If that's too easy, then you've got to get one when you go at each flag, again, full pre-shot routine, going at each flag, you've got to get one inside 5 paces at each flag. If that's too easy, make it 4. If that's too easy, make it 3 paces. And you keep raising the challenge until you can get that done. Now the idea would be that when you get out here, you've got to keep changing flags each shot. If you hit a shot to a target and it doesn't meet your criteria, then you still go to another flag, but you've got to come back to that one again. And as I said, you keep going and count how many balls does it take you to complete the drill. The idea is that when you come out and practice your bunker shots, we want to make it as much like what you're doing on the golf course as we can, and that's why we're going through full pre-shot routine and changing targets each time. The other thing we want to do is there needs to be a measured outcome, which is how far you are from the hole, and then a consequence for that outcome, which is, well, you didn't complete that exercise, that target, you've got to come back and do it again, and you keep going at it until you do complete it. We count up the number of balls it takes. The idea would be that if it took you 20 balls to complete 5 targets today, next time you come back, your goal is to beat that mark of 20 before you can then move on and practice something else. If you practice like that, full pre-shot routine, changing targets each time with measured outcomes and definite consequences for those outcomes, it's going to be much easier for you to transfer the skills that you've done here out onto the golf course. So if you can practice like that, you're going to become a much better bunker player, not only on the range, but also out in the course. It's going to allow you to get the ball up and onto the green more often and make a few more saves from the bunkers.